Amazing.
Perfect.
Amazing. So again, I'll just start off with some brief introductions about myself. I'll ask you to introduce yourself, and then I'll dive into a set of questions to ensure we have as much of a productive session as humanly possible. So, shall I start, or do you need a minute?
I think good to go. Right to start.
Okay.
Yeah, let's kick it off.
Perfect. Amazing. So, hey guys, welcome another student success video interview. So, if you don't know, my name is Milan, co-founder of Break Into Tech, which is a tech sales community that we created about a year and a half ago with the vision of helping as many people as possible break into high-paying tech roles or high-paying sales roles, or even high-paying commercially focused roles in tech companies. So I've personally been in tech sales for the last 4 years. Graduated university in 2020. I did a non-tech sales job in a marketing agency in 2020. Didn't like it, wasn't enjoyable, was only making £30,000 a year. After a year of doing that, I found a mentor, Tom Tech Sales. He taught me how to break into tech sales. So in 2021, I left my normal sales job to break into a tech sales company, an AI startup in London. I basically doubled my salary overnight, worked there for about 2 years, and then I decided to leave because I knew that I could make a lot more money. So I left. In 2024, I joined one of the biggest AI startups in the world. If you're in the AI sphere, you might know them. You know, we're the biggest multimodal media AI company in the world. So I've been there for the last 10 months. And for the last year, we've helped over 100 people break into high-paying tech roles, high-paying tech sales roles, and high-paying sales roles. And I wanted to do this interview with a good friend of mine, Adam, who we actually got to know each other about 8 months ago. We were both a part of a Discord group. And we just connected. We just connected over the fact that he was a business owner, the fact that I was an ex-business owner, and we just got along. I liked his personality. I liked the way that he presented himself, and he also had his own coaching business. We just had a lot of things in common. After a few months, he took our paid community inside of Break Into Tech. So that's a little bit of a background into me and the context of the call. Adam, do you mind just giving us a quick background, going all the way back to when you had your motor business, your car business, because that's super fascinating, and then all the way to now, and then I can dive into some questions about your experience of being in the paid community.
Yeah, sure. So I grew up with my father, like he's obsessed with cars, and so naturally I got into cars myself. And it was all very physical trade, so nothing to do with communication, nothing to do with like customer service. So growing up around that, I ended up getting a trade-based job, doing an apprenticeship on cars. And through that, sort of, I started to enjoy working with people more than the actual the work itself. So eventually, after a bit of time, I started my own business in the car side, thinking it would get closer to that. Did that for about 8 years. The business grew and hit a plateau, and we were doing sort of reasonably well, but it sort of didn't go any further than that. And then got ended up down and sort of stepped away completely. That's where I got into the coaching side and started to look into all these different areas. And at the other stage, really started was questioning whether marketing or sales or any of these kind of areas. And that's where we met. And you started to guide me through tech sales, and especially like sales and tech sales. That's the place to be. And once you started talking to me about it, I just thought it just makes sense. It's completely sense from all sides. So you started guiding me through the training for it. I was pretty much sort of going in completely blind to it, but except for the way that you sort of guided me through, I was just like, yeah, this is the shit. This is where it is. Yeah. And so after I think it's about 2 or 3 months of us going through the basics of going through how to apply for jobs, how to get into interviews, I'd gone through 3 or 4 main interviews, gone to the role play stage of it, and I had a side job that I was doing on the meantime. So I ended up just using that side job to get a bit of extra cash income. And about 2 months ago, got into this full time. So now I'm doing sales full time. I've got a job with a different sales company. They work with a few different types of businesses. But yeah, I'm in sales full time. So with your help.
Amazing. That's a very good intro. By the way, Adam, thank you so much. By the way, like before I get into the actual questions, let's get into the meat of the matter. Let's talk about money, okay? That's what everyone cares about. So how much money will you make if you hit all of your targets this year? And what will happen after this year if you hit all of your targets? What's the next progression stage for your sales job?
Cool. So the base rate now is 30 now. So I think that works out to 70, something like that a year. That's in Australian dollars. The on-target earnings targets. So we're doing 10% of a between $3,000 to $30,000 deals. So expected to do um, five of the $3,000 deals a week, and at least two of the $10,000 deals, and one of the $30,000 deals a week. So I haven't done the math of that in total, but I think it's, I don't know. Yeah, I'd have to sort of sit down and work that out of the actual on-target earnings for that.
But
We can do some quick sums here.
70,000 Australian dollars is the base a year.
That's the
And then
base.
if you hit your target, could you make 150, like double or double and a half, do you think?
Well, based on they're bringing in more and more leads into this marketing funnel that we're going through. So it's they're aiming for, and we're both sort of from both sides aiming for one of the $10,000 sales per day.
Right.
So
So that'll
that's
be
sort of
$1,000 a day in commission.
Yeah.
Okay. So you could definitely get over 100K if you hit your targets or even close to that. And maybe even over 150K again if you like overhit your targets. So that's really impressive. I mean, it's impressive because a couple of months ago when we started working together, I remember you were just doing a side hustle with a business that you weren't super passionate about. And obviously you were super passionate about breaking into sales, which is what I'm going to come into next. So the reason that I got into sales fundamentally is because I remember even being like 14, 15, 16 in school, and I remember the people that were like having a really good time, they had a really good social life at school, at high school, they used to be the best communicators. They were the people that could attract people. They were good at public speaking. They were good at socializing. And I was a bit shy. I was a little bit introverted. So I started reading books. I started reading sales books. I started reading, social development books, and that really helped me become a better social person, right? And I started making more friends, started traveling, completely changed my life in a 360 turn, right? So then in 2020, when I graduated university, I knew that the only job that I would ever do would be sales because one, I knew that it's one of the most important skills in life. And number two, I knew and I had friends that were making multiple six figures in tech sales and in other sales jobs. But then when I did my sales job, didn't really like it, found tech sales, knew that you could make a lot of money. And now if I hit my targets this year, I'll be on $250,000 and my base is 100,000. And if I stay in this industry for like another 5 to 10 years, I should easily be on 500K a year. So that was the reasons that I wanted to get into sales and now tech sales. Tell us a little bit. And the reason I asked this is because you were super passionate. You were extremely passionate about sales. So tell us why you wanted to get into sales. What sold you the job of doing sales in a company or tech sales? Tell us your thinking behind that.
Yeah, sure. So the way we met was in the RSD community. So we're in like a coaching, mentoring. It's all about communication, and that was originally coming from that social side. So a bit of what you mentioned before as well there, the social side of. I'd grown up with light level autism and had a lot of social challenges in communicating. So I'd gone through like every sort of track of the path, but my family background was always like you've got to be good with your hands, like hand skills, and that's the only thing that matters. And it took ages to really break out of that and go, hang on a minute, all these people are not doing any of this physical work. They're making like crazy amounts of money, and they're also got good social networks. They've know all these people. It just sort of works from every angle. So uh, I looked at it from the outside, was really unsure whether I could actually do this. So it was like a real sort of question mark of I don't have the social skills, I don't have the communication skills. There's a heap of stuff that I'm missing. But when we're starting to go through just like the basics of interviewing and just like taking a step at a time and just going, okay, we can just focus on answering a couple of questions in the interview and then getting through the first like stages of role play, and it's like, okay, this I can do, and break it into like small enough steps so I can do something with it. So yeah, coming back to the main question there, the that sort of first drive was just like the social side of like going sales is just in conversations 24/7. I was like, that's freaking sick to start with. And then the second side is there's no real cap to the income. There's nothing I can do in a physical job that's going to have that kind of open opportunity. Like you're constantly limited to I can only do X amount of work per day. Where into sales work, it's like you have more conversations. Those people have conversations. Other people bring more leads, and you can just keep amplifying your work.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I was watching a TikTok video because I recently started building Break into Tech on TikTok. It's blowing up. I saw a video about a doctor in London who's taking his income was after tax like £1,600 a month, and that's a doctor. That's like one of the highest professions in a modern society, and that guy's only making like 1,600 a month. And then I just turned 28, and if I do well, I could make 250. And I'm not saying I'm better than the doctor. I'm just saying I picked a different path, i.e., sales, i.e., tech sales. And the reason I did that is because I wanted to maximize my income, right? So it's like you have to pick if you want to make a lot of money in the modern world. The only three careers that will ever make you a lot of money is investment banking, software engineering, or tech jobs, and the one is
Mhm.
sales. That's just the
Yeah.
universal thing. So those are really good answers. Now going back a little bit, sorry, go on.
Universal thing. And well, the one thing that really stood out to me, like we're talking before, so running a business for about 8 years, and I used to try and make processes and try and like build up every sort of aspect of the business. But what really stood out to me by the end of that 8 years was there's only one part of the business where you actually make money, and that's the moment that you have the conversation where you make an agreement on how much the person's going to pay. Everything else
Yes,
around the business, the
absolutely.
product, the customer service, everything else is just fulfilling on that promise. And
Yes,
as soon as that
absolutely.
hit, I was like, oh, this
Yeah,
is
no,
yeah, there's not much point.
100%. And people don't believe that a company as big as Google or a company as big as Amazon need to do sales. They
Mhm.
100% need to do it. I interned at Google in Dublin in 2019. I was on the sales team. I was on the phone calling local businesses to spend more money on Google ads because people think that everyone knows Google, so everyone's going to spend a lot of money on Google. Of course not. They got Facebook ads, they got Instagram ads, they got YouTube ads, they got TikTok ads. So Google and any company on the planet, they have hundreds, if not hundreds of thousands of competitors. They need salespeople to grab the revenue from their competitors, and that's a skill set. That's one of the most important skill sets in the world. And the reason that I got bought into tech sales so much is because that's where all the money is. There's infinite money in tech. There's infinite money in AI. There's going to be more infinite money in AI in the next 5 to 10 years. So that's the only place to be. So that's a really fair point. I'm going back a little bit to before you worked with me. What was the experience like trying to break into a sales job or or into a tech sales job? What was the experience like before you joined the paid community? I just want to understand what were your struggles, what were your challenges, what were your pain points. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, cool. A little bit about that. Look, this is a super interesting area for me as well because I looked at sales role and I don't know where to start, what companies to talk to. Do I get into like telemarketing? It's just like no real place to get traction around. And so until we met and started talking about it, I just went too hard. It's, I don't know where to even start. I probably would have actually gotten into like a telemarketing job or trying to get into like selling insurance. And so the what really helped me was you just like lay down the start applying for interviews for just any online sales company, like tech company, and I started off in overseas as well as in Australia, 'cause I'm from Australia, yeah. And then as it started to get more pointed, then started to look into more Australian companies and just getting into those interviews. So learning how to tell my story in a way that was interesting to listen to in an interview, rather than just saying, "Yeah, run a business. I've now want to get into sales, and I've got these skills. Okay, how do I turn that into a story?" And then we sort of work together a bit on that and going, "Okay, well, it started off at this point, and yeah, these are the experiences I went through." So yeah, can you repeat the question again?
Yeah, it was
I just lost
mainly
it.
around. So when we started talking back, I think it was in March 2024. you weren't in a sales job then, right? You were working in a construction company. You were doing something there. I know
Yeah.
that you said your main challenge was like not even knowing you wanted to get into a sales job. You didn't even know where to start, what companies to talk to, what industry to get into. You made a good point
Yeah.
about if you didn't meet me, you would have probably got into insurance sales or telemarketing sales. That's where a lot of people end up, and they don't make that much money because the base salary is really low, the commissions are really hard to make, you get fired really quickly. It's not really a high income skill. You're just on the phone spamming numbers. And by the way, I did that when I was at university. I took a year off in 2019 to build my business. My business wasn't making that much money, so I ended up getting a telesales job in an insurance company. The worst experience of my entire life. I was there for 2 weeks, by the way, and they would just buy a bunch of leads. They would spam online, steal people's information, and they would give it to their salespeople on the sales floor, and then they would just tell you to call them. You were expected to make 500 calls a day. You were expected to make 10, 50, 20, 30 meetings a day. And if you didn't, you would get fired straight away. They let me go in 2 weeks. I swear to God, the manager came in and he was just like, "Hey man, you have to just leave." That was my experience, and I'm like, "Oh my God, what's going on here?" So then when I did my internship at Google, I made like £10,000, which is about $15,000 in 2 months as an intern at 22. And I was like, oh my God, this is what real sales looks like. A lot of people that don't know about tech sales or high end sales or like closer jobs, they end up doing dumb telemarketing roles and they get completely ruined and they think that's sales. No, you need to be into B2B sales, in tech sales, in high-end real estate sales. Those are the kind of jobs where you can make the actual money because you have a really good base salary. You're talking to companies that have hundreds of millions to spend, etc., etc. So then with regards to the actual paid community, I know we worked together for about 8 weeks. Sometimes you weren't available because you had your project and you had a lot of personal stuff going on. So, what part of the paid community did you found to be most useful for you? I know you talked a little bit about the interview process. What else do you think was a highlight for you in the paid community in the process of working together with me?
Yeah. In the paid community side, it was that being able to get your direct input on everything that was going on. So like on the resume to start with, like going, I've got this ideas around how to put my experience, all the stuff down a resume, and then you sort of point out and reword it different ways or say that you need more statistics, you need more information or more data in this part. And just to be able to go, okay, it's not just me thinking this and putting this on a random page and getting a bunch of different opinions. You're someone that's like gone through this and you know what you're looking for. You've had the results in your resumes. So okay, you're telling me exactly what I need to know on that. And then just going through like each of the interview phases where I've got a habit of running ahead 15 steps and just getting overwhelmed with shit. So the fact that you sort of brought me back and just went, stop focusing on that, just look at this one thing in front of you and get these couple of interview questions right, and we'll figure out the rest after. And that was just those couple of things there. It's just like constant realignment with that sort of one-to-one basis, and just keep talking as the process has gone through.
Yeah, no,
The
absolutely. Yeah, sorry, carry on.
yeah, one last part I just add to that is um, getting the starting point of sales. So it's also just vague and grey and just like I don't know what I'm getting into here. Your constant motivation to just keep me on track with it and going, you're doing the right thing, just keep going. That that was a major sort of push point as well, where there's week 3 or 4, I started to question myself, going, am I really doing the right thing here? Should I keep going with this? And you sort of follow me up, going, hey, where are you at? Why haven't I heard from you? And that was a huge point for me just to go, oh shit, I actually need to keep going with this. So just to keep all rolling.
Yeah, I think the last point you made, Adam, was is really important because we all have goals, we all have dreams, we all have like New Year plans and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of people have the capacity. Everybody on the planet, 8 billion people, right? Everybody has the capacity for amazing things if they actually push through and try harder. Sam Altman, the co-founder of OpenAI, I don't like quoting him because he's probably a Satanist, right? He's creating AI. But I like him because he has really good points about motivation, about doing the hard work when you're young. One of the things that he talks about is everybody in the world, every human being in the world has the capacity for amazing things. They never try or they give up too early and they never ask. So the point that you made about being pushed by someone if you always have someone to push you towards a goal, whether it's getting a six pack, whether it's going to a top university or getting a top tech sales job, you will always have more progress and you will make faster progress if you have someone just pushing you. Even if it's, by the way, your wife or your husband or your best friend or in a Facebook group, right? You just need someone to push you. The other thing I was going to say, fundamentally, people that try to get into tech sales, it's a very tough industry to break into. They have a really bad CV. They don't know what to do on their CV. So we fix that for you straight away. They don't know what to have on their LinkedIn profile. We fix that for you straight away. They don't know what the interview stages are. We fix that for you straight away. They don't know that there's a cold call exercise. We give you the scripts, we give you the training, and we make sure you get through that stage. And then when they get an offer, they get a really bad offer because they picked the wrong company. So we make sure you pick the right company. One of our most recent student success stories, by the way, Adam, I don't know if you know, is Dan. He studied at the University of Liverpool. Really young guy, 22. He's never sold a pen in his life. £40,000 base salary, £63,000 on target earnings. This guy's 22. He studied business at the University of Liverpool. But we worked with him for about a month and he got that offer. And that's because of this one-to-one mentoring that we do. So now, since you joined, we've even improved it where we do daily coaching calls now. We have daily coaching calls and weekly coaching calls, one-to-one and in a group setting. That's why people are getting like offers left, right, and center. So those are really good points. Now, what's new? What's 2025 looking like for you? I mean, you've got your sales job now. You're looking happier. You're looking like you're on a good path. What are you looking forward to in your sales job? What are you looking forward to in your life? Just tell us a little bit about the highlights that you have for 2025.
Cool. Some of the highlights. One of the biggest reasons was talking about getting into sales was that the personal communication side, and just seeing the amount of change in the last month and a half, 2 months since like starting this role full time, where it's gone from talking about the staying mainly on script and it mainly being like a informational conversation to now being able to start reading people and sort of paying attention to reactions, picking up on little details that they're saying and sort of drawing just things that they weren't expecting out of them. It's like that I think by the end of 2025, we're getting really good at that sub communication throughout everything that's been going on, and just getting to a point where possibly looking at starting another business again after we've got the sort of sales skills down pat. So that was the one thing that's all the rest of the organization, system skills, product building, everything else, nothing really mattered until the sales day. So just being able to have that sort of on point and then look at another business and go, doesn't really matter what it is, gyms, cars, whatever else it is, and sort of get stuck into another business where it's now down to sales. I'm excited for that. So I think like that 7-figure mark is going to be a big one.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. And then with your sales job, what do you think you're gonna make, or are you gonna stay in your current company? Are you looking to transition? What are some of your plans for that, like money wise, goals wise, for your actual sales role?
The sales role, I want to get into another, like a bigger tech company. So at the moment, working with these guys more sort of around marketing products and a few areas, and it's more based on services rather than products. So I really sort of tap into that sort of. I'm not sure what area yet, but yeah, so look into some more tech companies, some of the sort of base product roles, software as a service, those areas, and just get really good at that sort of product sales side. So
Got it.
so I think that'll like
Yeah.
way that sort of boost up the income quite a lot too.
Yeah, no, totally, man, totally. I think now you've got the experience, stay at your current company for at least another 6 months if you can, and then
Mm-hmm.
get back on the wagon and try it into an even bigger tech company, um, maybe as an SDR or BDR, or at this point, maybe as a junior commercial account executive, because now you've got your 8 years of business experience under your belt for your own start a company, and now you're gonna have this experience as well, so that's gonna be super useful. Um, just a final question, man. What would you say to people that are considering joining our program, the Break into Tech paid community? What would you tell them? Who's it good for? Who's it not a good fit for? What advice would you give them? Just some final words.
Yeah. The biggest ones that I think would be good for and not good for, if it's something that not going to stay consistent with, and you're going to like do it for 2 weeks and then go onto something else, definitely not. Like it's a crazy area to get into. It's got to be something you love sales, you want to make a shitload of money out of sales. Because if you want that, then you're going to put in the effort, you're going to put in the hard work, and you're going to put up with the pain of the rejection at the starting point. So then that's the hardest part was going through is jumping on those first couple of interview calls where it's like, I don't know what kind of questions they're going to be asking. And it just feels like the first couple just really suck because it's just like no way. I'm not gonna, they don't even reply to emails for the applications. And you go through 100 applications to get one call. And then the first call, they go, yep, forget it, try someone else. And just like getting through that first stage of the real sort of suck and pain, if you can get through that, you're pretty much set from there on.
I totally agree. I think the rejection thing is super painful, man. When before I got my first tech sales job, it was extremely hard. Hundreds of applications, 30, 40 interviews, constant rejection. And even when I
Mm-hmm.
left my previous company at the end of 2023 to join this new AI company, I spent 3 months doing 40, 50, 60 interviews, probably 1,000 applications, because it's also a tough job market right now. And there were so many points where I was just going to give up and just completely just stop and go back to building a business because I just hated the whole process. Um, I think that's everything from my end, Adam. Thank you so much for your time. I know you have to get going. Let's catch up in a few days. We can catch up properly besides this whole interview. And
Yeah, cool.
good luck with the business, bro. Definitely start your business again. I was checking, by the way, I don't know if you saw, but I was checking your Instagram out. Your content that you were posting was amazing, man. You should go back to that. Yeah, because you look good, you can talk well, you put yourself well together. And if by the way, if you need help with building the coaching business or your Instagram or TikTok, I can tell you what I'm doing because our TikToks are blowing up. I'm doing it with my
Yeah.
partner. So there's two of us doing it, but I think you should definitely go back to that if that is something you're interested in. And again, if you have any other questions about that, bro, happy to jump on a call.
Awesome. I really appreciate it, though. Yeah, really appreciate it. That's cool.
Amazing, amazing, bro. Well, I'll let you go, man, and we'll speak soon.
Nice one. All right,
Thank you,
man. Hope
brother.
you have a good night there and yeah, catch up with you soon.